This is talking about bubbles again, continuing. The 1929 crash was considered to be very big, and people said, oh, so it was, but the problem is in 1929, less than 2%, not more than 1.5% of the people were investing in the stock market. So I always used to think of 1929 as one of the biggest bubbles, till I read what Morgan Housel had to say about that, and he said it was not so big after all. I'll just quote him. Because it's easier to quote him. He said, from there only I learned that only 2.5% of Americans owned stocks in 1929. Huge majority of Americans watched in amazement as the market collapsed, and perhaps lost a sense of hope that they too might one day make money on the Wall Street. But they just lost a dream. They did not have much money to invest in, and therefore they did not lose money. He says that the real pain came later when the banks started failing, right? That is when the people started losing money. But he says the whole recovery was just 7.5 years, including adjusting for inflation, and that is bad. Yes, those 7 years must have been terrible, but that's not so bad as Japan or even as the dot-com, because I think the dot-com recovery took 15 years, if I'm not wrong, right? So 2000 was the dot-com bust. Obviously, amazingly stupid things happened, like in the Indian context also. There could be, just look at this example, there could be an Iyer.com, there is a charteredaccountant.com, then there is furniture.com. Now the Iyers thought all the Iyers should buy furniture from Iyer.com. The chartered accountants guy making the chartered accountant website thought all the chartered accountants should buy furniture from there, and the furniture.com thought everybody should buy furniture from here. So right, all of them were terribly double counting. So you counted, whether you counted eyeballs or whether you counted footfalls, it didn't really matter, because there was tremendous amount of double counting. Now that obviously happened in case of the 2000 dot-com boom, and yes, Nasdaq lost over 5 trillion. That is again a big amount, because again things changed, because you knew what was wrong, right? The kicker was something like, but the thing is, a booming company used its own money to buy out somebody, right? So if you use your boom to buy out somebody, the guy who got bought out thought it was a great deal, but he also got shares, so all of them got pulled into the same quicksand. So I would still go and say the biggest bubble is 1989 Japan. So it deserves a special episode, which I will do, and it has taken, what, 1989 would mean 11 plus 23, 34 years and still recovering, right? 34 years and it is still recovering, not fully recovered. Yes, it's gone up, it's gone down, then it went up, then it just stayed down, right? So the recovery to the full market never happened, and I think they lost at least about 2-3 trillion in there. And the real estate market also, I mean, when I talk about the Japanese bubble, I'll speak about it. Real estate also lost money, and the real estate and equities both lost money. And if you see, it is still definitely the biggest, because it lost something like 32 billion in, excluding the real estate. That's big, and it has not yet fully recovered, right? So how much did the prices go up? The prices went up 10x. How much was it worth? In the more detailed one, I'll do it even better. The palace grounds in Japan was worth more than the real estate of whole of California, right? That's the kind of thing which had happened. So yes, I would still go and bet that was the biggest one. And also that I mean, there are many lessons for us, but I think that I will do the lessons from this from the Japanese bubble bust separately, so I'll not combine it with this. Thank you. Will bubbles stop happening? Answer is no, bubbles will never stop happening. Very unlikely that we will identify a bubble when we are in it, but when you look at your portfolio and you find some some scheme, some fund which is a, let's say an infrastructure scheme or a small cap and giving you 36% CAGR for 3-4 years, you understand that you are in a bubble. Are you at the end of a bubble? Are you in the middle of a bubble? I wouldn't know, but I wouldn't mind taking money out of my currently I'm shooting this in September 2023. I actually have no problem removing money from a small cap fund or from an infrastructure fund in my portfolio, which gives me a 36% return over a 4-year period on an SIP basis. Because the problem is, when you speak to the CIO of the company, he'll say that's okay, but my PE is only 21. There are other small cap funds with a PE of 26. Doesn't matter. The fund in which I have invested, if I am happy with the return, I should remove it. Because the correct thing to say in a bubble, you will never know whether you are at the end of a bubble. Like if you meet me on the road, you will know that I am overweight. You will know that I have bad BMI. You know that I need to do more exercise, eat less carbs, eat more protein, etc. But you do not know my weight. But you don't need to know my weight to know I am overweight, right? So what can you do when you think you are in the middle of a bubble? Yes, take money out. I've done that. I've taken money out of some small cap funds, some infra funds. I'm continuing to do my SIP in that, right? My SGP or SIP goes on in those funds, but I still remove a lump sum and put it into something like a some multi-asset fund, so that I am now participating in a little bit in gold, a little bit in real estate, a little bit in foreign assets, right? While having debt or equity taxation. So I could do that. What should you be doing? So again, now I'm going back to Devil Takes the Hindmost, and I'll read out from there. What he says is, this is something which I have also learned. Don't participate. If you think there is a boom, don't participate. Just and you could be wrong for a very long period of time. Like I always thought real estate in Bombay is a boom and it's a bubble and it will burst. It is not really burst, but the wind is going out of it very slowly, right? The ROI in real estate in Mumbai is not as great as people want you to believe, especially if you take interest paid as a cost. Many people ignore that interest paid as a cost, and then they say, oh, I put 90 lakhs, I got 130 lakhs, right? So to me, after adjusting for inflation in 2007, 2008, I have not seen people make money in real estate even on a 10-year basis, right? In some parts maybe, but some parts no. So don't participate. Ignore the boom, ignore the bubble. It's very difficult because everybody around you is saying, oh, you don't have any Bitcoin? Answer is no, I don't have Bitcoin. Why? I don't even know I have F&O, right? And a lot of my friends make money in F&O. They say, oh, I just write options. I don't. That's it, as simple as that. Look the other way, completely different. That I don't participate in the IPO market. Is there an IPO bubble going on? Maybe it's going on, but I don't participate in that market. So to me, I will never be hit by an IPO bubble. I can be hit by a valuation bubble in some share. I mean, I have a pharma portfolio, and pharma going up, I can get stuck in that. Steel going up, I can get stuck in steel. Energy prices going up, I'm sure the energy shares also will go up. But one day when energy prices come down, I could be stuck in that. I could be stuck in those things. But I don't have F&O, I don't have Bitcoin, I don't have I don't have surplus real estate, right? These are the only hope. And now let me quote from Devil Takes the Hindmost, and it says, the additional rise of any stock over the true capital, this is about South Sea bubble, so it's about South Sea bubble share price going up, will be only imaginary. One added to one, this is really brilliant, one added to one by any rules of vulgar arithmetic will never make 3.5. This is something which you have to accept. Like if you are a CEO or a CIO, it's very difficult for you to say, I will now shut down this fund, because you cannot be judgmental. That option is to be left to the unit holder, right? The unit holder has to decide that he will not invest in small cap, he will not invest in infrastructure, or he will not invest in steel and pharma or energy fund. It is his call, it is, or her call. It is not the asset manager's call. The asset manager should just continue his schemes. It is not his job to stop any scheme. So that I am talking from the AMC point of view. What you should do is, you should perhaps stop your SIP, or let your SIP, like what I have done, I have let my SIPs continue, but I have still removed money from those same schemes, right? So it says, consequently, all the fictitious value must be lost to some person or the other, first or last, right? So, and then this is a beautiful line. The only way to prevent is to oneself must be to sell out and let the devil take the hindmost. Let the last portion go to the devil. You just walk out of it. So yes, you bought a share, it has gone up dramatically and you are now tempted to keep it, sell it off. Like for example, my BHEL, I bought at 25, 50 and 70. I sold at 115 and 117 and next day it was 135, then it went to 145, right? I can't hope to make all the money, but yes, the ones which I bought at 25 and 50 I'm holding, but the ones which I bought at 70 or about 67, 68, I have sold it partially. So some profits you have to take, especially when you think that the rise is too fast and it just does not get like the PSU boom. I think it's time to take some money home, right? Do whatever else you want to do with it, but taking some money home has never been a bad idea, especially after you've got 4x kind of return. If you've got 4x, 3x kind of return or a 50% jump in less than 2 weeks, it's time to let the devil take the hindmost. You take a little bit, let the last 10% or 15% go to the devil. Thank you.